Hi, my name is Lucy. I work for Charlottesville Parks and Recreation as a program specialist, and today we are here in McIntire Park. It's the home of our very popular Charlottesville Skate Park. But today we're going to look at some of the plants and trees that grow around here, go on a little nature walk, and get to know some of the animals that make this park their home and rely on the plants that are here. Okay, so one plant that's in the meadow is thistle, and it's still in flower. You can see these little purple flowers that are out. It's got very prickly leaves, so if you don't touch it, be careful. And eventually those flowers turn into thistle seed. So if you have a bird feeder in your yard and you put thistle out, you'll get lots of finches. And when I come through here, I see goldfinches quite a lot. They're bright, bright yellow, really beautiful birds. And pretty soon they'll start to molt, which means they'll lose some feathers. They'll grow some new feathers, and their coloring will be a little more drab for the winter. So if you're walking through here, look for thistle. You might hear the goldfinches, and this is a good time to see them while they're still bright yellow. Okay, another plant that is almost everywhere in this meadow right now is common ragweed. And there's good news and bad news about ragweed. If you're an allergy sufferer, you are feeling this plant right now. It puts out a lot of pollen. So each plant here puts out 1 billion grains of pollen. And that pollen, if you looked at it under a microscope, is very spiky. So it scratches your eyes, it scratches your throat. You really feel it right now. So this is in bloom, ragweed. The good news is that once it's pollinated, it will turn into seeds, and that'll be food for a lot of the birds. This is just a giant buffet in a few weeks for our bird friends, right at the time when they're starting to migrate or they might need some extra food. So keep an eye out for the ragweed. A lot of people used to think it was goldenrod that was making them sneeze, because goldenrod is a yellow flower. It shows up at the same time, but this is the culprit here, common ragweed. That's fun to do if you're out walking with kids or just by yourself is if you find a stump or a log or a good rock like this that's flush to the ground, you can peel it back and see if there are any interesting critters under there. And I recommend when you do this, don't lift it up right at your foot. Sometimes snakes are under there. You don't want them coming right out at your foot, but I'm going to reach across. We'll see if anybody is hanging out under here today. Oh, and we've got, let's see, there's a little, this is a dust beetle, also called a patent leather beetle, and he's hanging out, so he'll eat the dead wood. A lot of times you'll find these look like some termites here. They're crawling around. You can find worms, roly-polies. There are certain kind of small salamanders that also live under logs. So yeah, just poke around and see what you can find. Just be very careful putting the log back. And I'm going to let this guy crawl back under so he doesn't get crunched. Okay, this is one of my favorite plants is the common milkweed, and it's the host plant for the monarch butterfly. Now, monarchs, by host plant, I mean they lay their eggs, the adult, on the underside of the leaf, and the caterpillar hatches out of that, goes into a chrysalis, and turns into a monarch. This is the time of year to start looking for monarchs. They're migrating, which is unusual for butterflies. They go all the way to Mexico. You'll see them flying in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for them. This plant it's called milkweed because I'll snap the leaf just a little bit here and a milky substance comes out. Now that's not the kind of milk you drink. It's a milky latex that's very sticky. So if you were an insect that started nibbling on this, your mouth would get all gummed up. And the plant itself is also poisonous. So the monarch butterfly is poisonous. If a bird tries to eat a monarch, it'll spit it out right away. It tastes bad. There's some probably in the, oh, look, there is a caterpillar on here right now, monarch caterpillar. So that's what they look like. So pretty soon this guy will turn into the butterfly and make a journey all the way to Mexico and stay there for the winter. And this plant had really beautiful flowers back in June. And now those flowers have turned into a seed pod. And once this gets a little drier, there'll be this fluff inside, the white fluff with seeds attached. It will spread all over the meadow and create more plants. So this is a great plant, not just for the monarch butterfly. There's some insects that are specific. There's a milkweed beetle, a milkweed bug. They're red and black. Red and black in the insect world means don't eat me, I'm poisonous. So look for those when you're walking around and you see the milkweed. All right, one thing I really love about McIntire Park is there are all these beautiful old trees here. And this is a giant white oak tree. And if you look at the leaves on the oak, there are white oaks and red oaks. And white oaks have the rounded lobes on the leaves. So this is in the white oak family. If it's a red oak, it has a little spike here on the end or pointy. And you can see the acorns are already coming in. So this is going to be good food for squirrels, chipmunks, all kinds of small mammals. And there are also studies that have been done that oaks attract the greatest diversity of caterpillars. So, and caterpillars are eaten by birds, especially caterpillars come out in the spring. That's when the birds are migrating, that's when they're eating the new leaves. So if you really want to make a difference in your yard, you're trying to decide what kind of tree to get, I recommend an oak tree because it's great for biodiversity in your yard. All right, one thing you'll see all over the meadows in McIntire Park are these bluebird boxes. Bluebirds are one of our native birds, and the Virginia Bluebird Society takes care of the boxes. And the reason there's so many boxes just for this kind of bird is because at one point their numbers went down. And that's because they have to compete with starlings and sparrows that came into this country. They were released, they took off in great numbers, and now there's a lot of competition for nesting space. So the bluebirds get a little extra help by having a place to nest. And there are volunteers who come around in the spring and they check and make sure other birds aren't nesting there. And another thing I look out for, this is called a baffle. And normally it would be like this. And it keeps the black rat snake from climbing up this hole and getting to the eggs or the chicks. So that's just one extra defense to keep the birds safe. So the bluebirds will be around all winter. You'll still see them. The colors might be a little more dull. Not all birds migrate. So the bluebird, blue jays, chickadees, you'll see those throughout the winter. Some of the robins. There are going to be some birds coming into our area soon, like the juncos or the white-throated sparrows that are here in the fall and winter. So some birds are leaving, some birds are coming, and some birds are just staying put. So keep an eye out for those. All right, this is one of my favorite trees. It's called the Catalpa Tree, and it's right by the skate park. If you're in the park, you can see it easily. It's very easy to spot this time of year because it has these very long seed pods. They look like giant green beans. Pretty soon they'll turn darker color, they'll get dry. There are these papery seeds inside, and they'll disperse around. It also has these heart-shaped leaves, so it's even, you don't have these in the fall, it's easy to see. Beautiful white flowers, pretty large in the springtime. If you go up to Monticello, there's some even larger catalpa trees that you can see in that area. There's also one caterpillar, since we saw some caterpillars today, called the Catalpa Sphinx moth. It's mostly black, it's pretty big, it would be out in the summer. And I've seen times they emerge en masse, and I've seen where there's one caterpillar on every leaf chomping away, but the leaves tend to grow back, so that's the good news. And that's a lot of food for the birds. So look out for the catalpa tree, and you can find any others in the park. All right, well, thanks for joining me today on this. We had this beautiful day in McIntire Park, and look around on your own. That's just a taste of what's here. There's lots more to explore, different birds, insects. This is the perfect time of year. And you've got these nice, big, wide open views here. So also, if you're interested in birds, this is a good place to come look at them. So enjoy while the weather is still warm.